Hey, it's episode 504 possibly of the Gratu Orlov Show. And it's at some point in, I think it's a Tuesday, March 22nd possibly, of 2022. Still packing. That mad megalomaniac Putin has invaded here in Gratuville. So we got to move even quicker with the packing to get up to Iowa, where we'll be safe from that madman. So I'm packing. And gigantic mountains of boxes downstairs, but I'm still trying to... Right now I can't really show you those mountains because I'm the only one awake. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. Who could sleep with all of this mortar fire and explosions? I'll take you out later and let you see what's going on in the neighborhood. It's just explosions and mass screaming death, flaming agony. It's horrible. So we got to move quick. So, what shall I load first? I need a special box for that. Okay. I'm just wrapping this stuff with paper toweling. So I gotta move quick. It's a big boy. Oh, I gotta move this police helicopter out of the way. Kinda cool. This lighting situation's not ideal, but we don't have time for those luxuries when Vladimir Putin is invading Gratuville for no reason at all. Just because we had... maybe not. I don't want to get into that. I lost a subscriber. I'm sure because of my joking about politics. Must have offended one of those fucking idiots. It's the Peter Lorre type guy from Mad Monster Party. It's the Phantom of the Opera type guy. Oh no, it's Mr. Hyde. What am I talking about? What foolishness. I gotta pack quick, man. Now, the closing was supposed to be yesterday. It got delayed. Then it was going to be Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Now, it turns out the people buying the house were delayed until Wednesday night because of what's happening here with the attack on Gratuville by Putin. So we won't be able to have the closing until Thursday morning at 9. As soon as that happens, my friend Gerald and I will be on the road going up the country with a van full. We're gonna I won't have any money to rent a van until the closing, but my friend Gerald has nicely volunteered to use his credit card to secure the van tomorrow. So we'll start loading up tomorrow, Secret Squirrel, and have it all loaded so we can leave immediately upon the closing about 9:30 tomorrow. And weird supernatural blessings keep coming our way here in Gratuville, other than the attack on Gratuville. That's all right. It's okay. My mother-in-law is here packing. My wife is helping. There's an old... anyway, so... this friend of their family was working on a work crew in Dallas, and he lives in Houston but is up here, and my mother-in-law is also here visiting from Houston. So anyway, this guy is the only guy in his work crew that's like this Christian, humble Christian guy that doesn't smoke pot or drink or any of those things. Everyone else working on this work crew is a vile degenerate, but he's been told by the boss every morning to go around and wake up the work crew. And so this is a recent toy. So he does what he's told, and so he's waking up all these people in the morning, and they're all hungover. They finally got tired of it, and we're about to literally kill him and had shovels. They were going to actually murder him, so he had to escape. And so he came here and is sleeping on the couch downstairs. But he's actually young and has the ability to lift things, so he's been a great help, and he'll stay here and help us on our trips up to Iowa and help unload and load and unload and all of that. So that'll be great. And then when my mother-in-law goes back to Houston, she'll just take him back home. Only problem is he only speaks maybe one word of English, hello, you know. So I imagine we can communicate somehow by pointing and things. And I know how to say TNA hombre, you know, it means are you hungry? So you know when to stop and get a burger on the way or something. But he's a nice guy, it just can't communicate with him. Even though I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, I took 2 years of Spanish in college, and I taught predominantly Spanish-speaking students for 20-something years. I don't know much Spanish. Entonces, it's a garbage pail Dracula. Indeed. I gotta move quick, man. Gotta move quick. I mean, listen to the war raging right outside. Here's a shrunken head. Motherfucker. Excuse my language. This needs to go in another box. So anyway, we're gonna make at least 2 trips by 20-foot U-Haul vans to Iowa, and then I guess the rest just is gonna be moved by people we hire, possibly, to put things, whatever's left, in pods and then transport that stuff on up. Because we're moving on up. It's Davy Crockett and Jack in the Box. And, you don't need to see that. You'll see it when I unpack it. Here's Anorexia Barbie. Oh boy. Well, now one thing coming with this move means that I will be able to be on Graphic Man's show now on Wednesday nights from when it begins at 7 o'clock p.m. Central, because I'll no longer have something keeping me from getting on from the beginning. So I'll probably completely ruin that show even more than I used to. Okay. The Spectre. But it's, because I talk about politics too much, because I'm an asshole. But it's hard not to talk about politics when your little town, Gratouville, has been invaded by the evil Putin. Rootin' tootin' Putin. That madman, that rascal, scoundrel, right? Why, it's poison ivy. I was talking about this a few episodes back. This is a half track. Like, my brother used to have 1 million of these in tanks made by this company called Auburn. Oh well. It's I don't know where all those tanks are now. I gave them all back to my brother. and he passed away. So hopefully they're still in the hands of his son and not sold at a garage sale somewhere. Like Baron Karza says, he's one of the evil Micronauts. He's the only Micronaut I bought. I was probably a little too old for the Micronaut line. I read the comic books, but god damn it, he shot his fist off. This guy shoots his fist and he shoots a red missile out of his abdomen. And he's still spring-loaded. Although, get him right before he wounds someone. I'm going to put you into this comic book merry-go-round. Let's see if it will hold a cell phone. Something this rack was not designed to do. This rack was designed to hold comic books. Oh, it works really good, doesn't it? How about that? Now I can swivel the camera around. Remember that sound when you were a kid? The squeaky sound in the 7-Eleven of comic book joy. So I'm boxing up toys this wonderful morning here in Grotuville, war-torn Grotuville. Flaming death. Here's the girl from Mad Monster Party. They put out a whole line of these a few years back. I should have gotten them all. I got some of them. I think they were gifts from my wife when I first met her, actually. Ay, ay, ay. War is hell, man. How about that? All right. Look, it's my father's airborne cigarette lighter. How about that one? Have you unsubscribed yet? You need to be cool and unsubscribe, man. Like everybody else is doing. He's not showing enough comic books. Fuck you, man. They never pretended that this is a comic book channel. This is a hula girl channel, man. See? This is the channel where all the shit that you saw at Stuckey's when you were a kid still exists. We saw Stuckey's on the way back from Iowa. I think we were in Oklahoma, but we didn't stop at it. Goddamn. We gotta stop at that Stuckey's when we're coming back. But I'm sure it's not as cool as I remember. Can't possibly. These are these two lovers are lawfully wed. At least in my universe, my reality, my multiverse. You're probably saying Grotuville, it's not really, there's not really war there in Grotuville. I mean, you're probably saying Grotuville, there's not really war in Grotuville. I beg to differ. You hear the sounds, right? Would the media lie to you? Gratu is your most trusted source of news, right? Oh man, it's almost Easter, right? It's the Easter bunny. That blue tail. Yes, indeed. Gotta look at this Barbie. It's a cheerleader, I guess. Gwen Stacy kind of girl. Let's get her wrapped up. Does this guy even need to be wrapped? I don't think so. I do not think so. There's this guy, the X22 report. You can watch. He used to be on YouTube. They banned him from YouTube. You can watch him on Rumble. Get the Rumble app and watch X22 report. It's like he says, "I do not believe so." He has this cadence in the way he talks. My wife listens to him. Sometimes she falls asleep listening to him. Now it's affecting her speech pattern. They say, "You sound like X22 report." And I don't know why he calls himself X22 report. I tell my wife, you know, there's a comic book character called X23. It's that little female Wolverine that they showed in that Logan movie we saw. I don't know much beyond that because I don't read modern comics, but I'm aware this character exists. And I don't know if the guy named himself after, I don't know what the hell X22 means. It would be kind of lame if he named himself after the female Wolverine and just changed it by one number. Okay. Do you remember these little Martian guys? These little tiny Martian... I don't know. It's like a little Martian. I got some of these. These ones I never gave back to my brother. All of his little army men, he had... all these army men about this big from Auburn, and then he had these little army men that were from... I gave him back all his big, army men. But the ones that were, like, tiny, like, in scale, I never gave those back to him. I think he asked for them one time. I said, I don't know where they are. I didn't tell him the truth. I wanted to keep them. I think they're all in somewhere here. Because it's like he grew up and he gave me all of his toys, and then later on he wanted them because he had kids, because he wanted to give them to them so they could destroy them and throw them away and sell them at a garage sale. So I say those little Martian men, and shit, I couldn't part with the Martian, because I'm part Martian. This is an original first issue Darth Vader with his vinyl raincoat, and I don't know anything about Star Wars figures. I just know what I've got. This came out, it's got a retractable lightsaber, like so. So apparently that's how you tell it's an original. I don't know. I think they did the lightsaber differently later. Yes. Here's Odd Job. These are from the mid-60s, but I don't think they're by any means rare because they made 50 million of these things. I think some company in England. There's Goldfinger. It's weird how we now realize that all these James Bond plots seemed so out there and insane, and now we realize that all of these shadowy evil organizations, from Spectre to Smersh to Chaos and Get Smart to Thrush and Man from U.N.C.L.E. to Hydra and the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. comics. They're all of that's based on reality. Ian Fleming, the author of the James Bond books, had been in the Secret Service. He was just kind of informing us that there are really shadowy evil organizations like the World Economic Forum. They just don't have cool names like Spectre. World Economic Forum sounds so innocent. But there's a crazy German guy that's bald, that's stroking a cat. He doesn't stroke a cat, he strokes other things. That are wanting to fuck you up big time. You better pay attention. Okay, I'm going to start boxing up CDs here in a second, so this Brought To You show will become a music show, and I'll talk about music. And it's got a little cat on the suction cup. Pretty neat. And I guess I'll have people unsubscribe. He's not talking about comic books, he's talking about records. What kind of show is this? I'm gonna go watch Comic Tom 101 and get the real scoop on what comics you need to buy to invest in and what the best alternate covers are out there. Well, I've used up this roll of Klaus Schwab paper towel. Klaus Schwab paper towel. Oh, and Biden started talking about the New World Order yesterday. The United States needs to be part of the New World Order that's emerging. Oh, that's swell. Heard that before. I was wearing my father's Colonel hat a few episodes back, and someone said, "That's a Nazi hat." No. This is what you're talking about. This is real. This is from a movie. This was used on the set of Schindler's List, and was my friend that went to Hollywood had a lot of memorabilia, and so this is. But you know, they do kind of look a little alike. They both have eagles. Of course, the eagle was Zeus's totem animal, so you know, a lot of people use eagles. But you know, when you start putting skull and crossbones on your hat, it's hard to say, "Hey, we're the good guys." But we could do a Hogan's Heroes thing and have the good guys on top of the bad guys. But you need one of those spike helmets and then Hogan's hat, because he was a colonel, right? Yeah, like my dad. So anyway, there's Hogan. In real life, Bob Crane was a DJ in LA, and he got to be a TV show star, and he turned it. He wasn't as bad as Hunter Biden, because he wasn't doing, as far as I know, well, I don't know what kind of drugs, if he was doing any drugs, but he was out there like Hunter Biden. Now they've admitted that laptop was real. I thought they said it was Russian disinformation. But now that Biden's become a political liability, they can go ahead and admit it. But what are you going to do? Bring in old Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris, who was secretly Ms. Marvel, right? What's inside this box? Oh, bunch of little fucking shit. I can't show you. Little toys. Okay, I need to have a box of model kit boxes. Let's put that up there. Okay, now I need a box for CDs. Let's box up some model kits. I think that Hulk book comes out tomorrow. The Hulk retrospective thing that shows his whole history. So I'm going to use a comic box and put model kits in it. I gotta go get that. Okay, model kits. This model kit fell once and broken. My friend took it to repair it, but his brother got a hold of it and decided to repair it in a different way. He was holding like a bloody cocktail, and I think the guy put the cocktail that he was drinking back there and made him. Oh, and he put like wheels from another model kit on there instead of the yellow ones. I still have the yellow ones, but anyway, this is a customized model kit. Paint job's pretty good on it. This is Dracula's dragster. Yeah. Anyway, it's not fully original, but it's cool. That goes in the box. All right. This one's not as good because I built it and painted it. It's missing the little chain that holds his cape on. There's a victim down there chained up. And this is the Marx figure that I painted. Kind of looks good. It's like a little mini-me version. This has been hard on my back. There's a Snow White Queen. Then I told you I was going to have a section in the new place, like a whole display where I put all the Joe Riley built stuff together, paintings and stuff that were done by him. He did this Dracula. This is a Joe Riley Dracula. So he did all kinds of detail, even putting some real kind of grass in there. This is a Joe Riley. He passed away a good, gosh, must be about 14 years ago he passed away. back when MySpace was still a thing, so that dates it. Now, I'm trying to remember. I think this is probably my childhood picture from the Black Lagoon. I think Joe Riley fixed it as best he could. Because it wasn't put together properly. But I think Joe Riley had a hand in that. Joe Riley loved funny face. This is a little walker. This was put together by Joe Riley, and he sold it to me. It was originally part of his collection. It's the model kit that came out at the time the movie was released. My mother had a collection of Hummels, which were mostly, when she passed away, mostly given. My father gave most of them to my oldest brother's wife, and then I think my middle brother, maybe he was married at the time and she got some of them, I don't know. But I was given a choice. I could pick out one. And I guess I picked this one out. I don't know if I picked it out. I doubt I picked it out because it had value. When my family was stationed in France before I was born, they would buy these at the PX. Yes, see, at the bottom it says it's $2.15. And this would have been about the time, the Kennedy, well, no, they were in San Francisco then. This would have been earlier than Kennedy's. This would have been, because in '63 they were in San Francisco. I wasn't born until '65, so I don't have memories of that, obviously. But I think it was 1960, 61 they were in France, and that's when I think she got this. That's the story that I recall. Oh, here's a Lindbergh Looney. Is that what they call them? This is an original model kit. I bought it, I think, from eBay or something. It was a Plastic Monster construction kit by Paul Lindbergh. This is the Green Ghoul. These are the other guys you could get. So anyway, I bought this. It was unbuilt, and a real purist would just leave it unbuilt in the box, but I had to build it, so I built it. This is my paint job. That's not a Joe Riley quality paint job. Will he fit in the box is the question. So that would be a perfect place for him. Let's take a look. I think he's fitting. Fantastic. Usually model kits do not fit in their boxes when they're built. That's pleasing. 34 minutes. Can't do a show that short because people hate the short shows. Although the one show that I did that was 17 minutes long was when I went in and toured the house that we're buying. And it's, if you go back, it's few episodes back where there's a werewolf and a woman there, and the guys turn into a werewolf. It was 17 minutes long, and Night Tiger told me that 17 minutes is the sweet spot that YouTube likes, because if you do a 17-minute video, if you're monetized, it helps you get more advertising. So anyway, every time I click on that video to look at it, because I'm trying to look at the house to see where I could put this there or that thing there, there's always a commercial or two. And I'm not monetized. I had 333 subscribers and went down to 332. It's probably even less now because people are hating this video. But damn, hard to believe. Every time there are commercials. So apparently 17 minutes is what YouTube wants you to stick to. Ooh my gosh. I think I can't fit any more model kits in there. So I probably need to fill it up with peanuts. Here's a Mark's figure of the drag hag, the weirdo. There's her baby there. There's also a model kit of that. It looks quite a bit different. Okay. I need to get a box from downstairs. I'm going to be quiet because I don't want to wake everybody up. Somehow they can sleep through all this mortar fire, machine guns, I don't know. Oh wait, I can use this little box without having to go downstairs and stir. I won't be able to fit many CDs in this box, but I'll fit a few. It looks like this is a box that Funko Pops came in. This is a Cramps CD, but it's from their later period that I don't like as really much at all. Their earlier records are far better. Here's How to Make a Monster featuring the Cramps. This has got a lot of early live recordings and demos that I recommend. Best of the Pyramids. They were a surf band that shaved their heads. It's the Revels. The Go Sound of the Slots. The Revels. The sound, music, and language of slot car racing. America's newest hobby. It's up from Sunday's Records. Go, The Ventures. Gerald, who's going to help me go up with the U-Haul, that's his favorite band, The Ventures. Leslie Gore, 32 of her greatest hits. We put the bump in Very Now. There's 2 albums by The Ventures. It's the soundtrack to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, so it's important to have in your collection. Peggy Lee with the Dave Barber Band. Sorry, I gotta move quick. Buy your own CD and then you can stare at it. Legends, this is a bunch of surf, no, not all surf guitar. Yes, it is all surf. T-Rex. Lightning Hopkins. Flamin' Groovies. The song Teenage Head. That's a great song. Bill Doggett, Earl Bostic. I recommend you, you're on YouTube already, just go look up these artists on YouTube and you'll be amazed. I mean, you can listen to music for free. Best of Buddy Knox, I think maybe most famous for Hula Love, at least to me. Freddie Cannon, I really like Freddie Cannon. Freddie Boom Boom Cannon. More Freddie Cannon. Why, it's Eartha Kitt, Miss Kitt to you. Anita Carter, Ring of Fire. This is good stuff. Johnny Ray, Cry. There was a parody of the song Cry by Stan Freberg called Try. It's hilarious. He was a real emotional singer that would break down and cry during songs. His songs were really, I think he had trouble walking or something, so the girls in the audience would just go nuts. It's like right before Elvis, I think. And anyway, Johnny Ray. He has The Little White Cloud That Cried, I mean, all of his songs seems like a lot of them have Cry in the title. Bobby Darin. It's Victoria Spivey's Dopehead Blues. Little Esther, Bad Bad Girl. She's got some great music. Aged in Mellow Blues is one of my favorites. Julie London, who married Jack Webb, and she was in the show Emergency, which was a Jack Webb show. Brenda Lee, Jack Webb did Plainclothes Policeman with Dragnet, and he had Guys in Squad Cars with Adam 12, and he had Emergency that was with Firemen, and then he even did a show about Project Blue Book, the guys that investigated UFOs. So any kind of government worker, he was all about lionizing them in television. This is it's like a Cramps live record, probably a bootleg. Another Cramps live bootleg. Well, no. Is that a bootleg? I think that might be official. This is Cramps. It's really like a EP. It's got just 4 songs on it, but they're blues songs. That's a great cover. That's I've got a Zenith like that, except it doesn't have a record player on the top. The Cramps, that's Poison Ivy there, who was married to Lex Interior, the singer. They had the same sensibilities that I do as far as comic books, 50s horror, type movies I like. I owe a lot to them, although I was that way before I heard their records. When I first heard, this is him doing as a DJ on a radio show. When I first heard my first Cramps record, I thought, oh, they must have heard Stan Freberg, the comedian Stan Freberg's parody of Elvis, because it sounds just like when they did Stan Freberg did a parody of Heartbreak Hotel with all the echo and insanity, and because he was exaggerating. This is 2 of the Cramps' best records put together on one CD. Songs the Lord Taught Us is a great record. Mick Knox was the drummer. That's Lex Interior. Brian Gregory was with the band, but he left. He was great because he was like a Boris Karloff looking guy that would spit cigarettes out of his mouth into the crowd, and that was Poison Ivy, who was married to him, and they listen to interviews with him. They know all about all the cool music, and they helped a lot of people all over the world rediscover a lot of the great 50s rockabilly and 60s surf and garage rock. This is a fantastic record, live from the Peppermint Lounge. Highly recommend it. They do a cover version of the theme from Faster Pussycat Kill on there. I need to listen to more Cramps. I've kind of gotten out of the habit. I want to start blasting some cramps. See, when I get to the new house, I can, if I want to play music or play the sound of gunfire on the stereo here, which is really what I'm doing, it won't bother anyone, because if I'm down in the basement and my wife's up on the 4th floor where we're going to have our master bedroom, she's not going to hear it. Or if she's on the 2nd floor and I'm on the 1st, there'll be more freedom. This is the first cramps record I ever had. This one has a 3D cover. It's Donovan. Oh, this is Stan Freberg, who I was just talking about. Now, this is a great collection, if you can find it. I'm friends with Stan Freberg's son on Facebook. I think, on MySpace. And he's a great guy. Very different from me politically, but he's never unfriended me when I talk about how great Trump is. And it's like, so that's great. You might remember Stan Freberg in his later days did some Encyclopedia Britannica, I think, commercials, where he's the off-screen voice and he's the obnoxious teenager. You might know Donovan Freberg from that, because I don't think he's named after Donovan, the guy that. Anyway, here's another copy of Smell. This is Smell a Female, the one which is the record that I was calling Live from the Peppermint Lounge. It's really called Smell a Female. This is a French import. This is the one I first got, and then I got the other one too. And I got it on vinyl too. I got these in all kinds of formats. There's a date with Elvis. I think I've almost filled up this box, because it's a tiny box meant for those big, oversized head creatures. Beach Boys. I like the Beach Boys. My wife doesn't. I'll forgive her. But whenever I meet most people that grew up in California don't like the Beach Boys. Soundtrack to Animal House. Ooh, this is Elmer Bernstein. Some of his scores, music from different movies and TVs that shows that he scored. I'm also a big soundtrack collector, movie soundtrack collector. Oh, this is another Stan Freberg record. This is when he did you can listen to it on YouTube. It's the History of America Part 1, and it goes from the Pilgrims to the end of the battle, the Revolutionary War. So it's really good. And then he later, this was done in the early 60s, or I think, yeah. It's fantastic. Billy May was the guy that did the music and all of his stuff. And Billy May did the soundtrack music in the 3rd season of Batman, the one with Batgirl. And the music I thought was great in the 3rd season. I wish somehow someone would find those master tapes and put that music out. The 3rd season, the music during the fight scenes was just so great. Billy May, yeah. Susie and the Banshees. Well, you need a last CD that fits. Now I can fit one more CD in this box. Who will it be? Who will it be? Ruddles Highway Revisited. It's different bands doing cover versions of the Ruddles. There were basically, to sum it up, like a Monty Python parody of the Beatles. It wasn't all the members of Monty Python, but it was one of them and the guy that did the music for the Monty Python, so it was kind of two of them. And combined with help from the Saturday Night Live crowd, when the original Saturday Night Live cast, meeting up with the Monty Python cast a few years after they finished doing the Flying Circus show, and it was a wonderful synthesis of there's a documentary called All You Need Is Cash. Okay. I need to get a pen to mark that these are CDs, and I need to seal it. So we'll do that. I shall return. Okay, I'm back. I'll put some stuff in on top of the CDs, like this picture of my wife and myself, and this picture of Jesus. Oh, I've got a, God damn it, I've got a big giant poster of Batman swinging with the Bat's signal behind him, drawn by Carmine Infantino. And it used to hang right here on the wall. Somewhere I got it. And I used to have this right below it. And then I had it in just such a way that the bat signal grew. And then there was the big bat signal. And putting this below that poster made it look like the bat signal was being generated by Jesus. And I know that might sound sacrilege, but it's not meant to be said. It was funny to me when I was 12. This, when you order anything from Alex Jones, he sends you a copy of the Constitution. Not that I would ever order anything from such an evil man. Here's a book of riddles. I'm just throwing these on the top as padding. I don't even know what this is. It says Cincinnati Reds. Here's some cards of whatever the fuck. Oh. These are cards from. Oh, yeah. These are from Meyer Greenblatt and his business card. So Meyer Greenblatt sent me that, so that goes there. Postcard. Disneyland. San Francisco. Women, cowgirls, and this wonderful illustration that I've yet to frame from Meyer Greenblatt painting. It's amazing. And so you got to look at issue number 25, page 9 of Commandy to see his inspiration. And I've yet to do that, but I'm going to do that. It's fantastic. And friends send me packages like that. When I get to the new place, I'll start sending out act of kindness packages. It's just I've been so overwhelmed with the amount of stuff here, but we're moving from 2,500 square feet to over 6,000 square feet, so I should have some elbow room. I'm hoping. But every closet I open vomits forth boxes and boxes and stuff. It's like Fibber McGee's closet. Okay, so anything else I could throw in there? No, I'll just seal it up. ASMR, right? All because Grotuville wanted to join NATO, and the labs here in Grotuville were having to be invaded by the evil Putin. Why would someone known this having biochemical weapon labs? I don't understand. Crazy out there. Okay. Well, that box is sealed. Now we gotta write CDs on it. CDs. Okay. Fantastic. And it's a little box, but it's kind of heavy. So maybe that's the way to put CDs in these little boxes. Let me go grab a few more. Got another box, even smaller. This is not gonna hold many. Would you bring some more boxes up to 4-7, please? Yeah, make it snappy. Thank you. I'm on the air. Bye. Fucking scum. Ugh. Jungle Exotica. Ain't that a kick in the head? It's just a collection of different Dean Martin campaigns. Actually, yeah, that's not gonna hold me. Box is too tiny. Music from the 20s that played at the Cotton Club. This is the soundtrack to Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Jungle Exotica, Volume 2. Bunch of 50s and 60s music with jungle themes. Here's Jungle Jive, music from Delphi. Delphi was the label that got most of its publicity from having Delphi had Richie Valens. Maybe they had Bobby Fuller 4 later in the 60s. Man, here's a record. It looks like I got it for $6 at Half Price Books, and I've never opened it. The Road to Rock and Roll. No stopping us now. You know, I haven't looked at Half Price Books lately, but with the price of gas going up and price of food going up, there's probably a lot of great stuff popping up in there. People coming in selling old Mad magazines and old comic books and old records. I kind of don't want to go in there, but I'm going to make at least one last stop in there before we move up to Iowa, because they don't have them up there, which might be a good thing. See, that's how you're supposed to do it, Biden. You're not supposed to cough in your or sneeze into your hand. He's always doing it right into his hand and shaking hands with people. You're actually supposed to do the Dracula move like that and sneeze there, but I just moved into my shirt like a shadow. Ema Sumac, that's great stuff too. It looks like that's stuff that can be playing in our tiki bar. Not that we drink that much. We don't really drink at all, but we always drink Coke. Bottoms up. Speaking of drinking, come spy with us. The Secret Agent Songbook. Stupid shit-ass motherfucker. That box is too small to really put much of any kind of shit in it. You might have to improvise and put other things in there. There's a bunch of trading cards. I don't know what's in there. I just thrown it in the box. It takes up just the right amount of space. Time for this shit. I gotta pack quickly. So today is Tuesday. And we've got to, because they've given us one more day. We got to have everything out by midnight, April 3rd, which is a Sunday. And then if we don't, every day we go after that is like they penalize us $540, $550 a day, which is fucking communism. What time is it? I'm fucking starving. Come with me this way. I got some Popeye spinach. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll put some 8-track tapes in this box. Maybe an audio cassette. This is one I recorded off of television, The Making of Star Wars. I don't think that's probably still in here, but it says artist R2D2 and C3PO. So that was me in 1977 writing that. I used to have an audio jack coming out of my childhood television into my childhood tape recorder, and I'd record off the TV before VCRs were invented. Here's an Atari cartridge, Combat. Put that in there. Here's an 8-track, the best of 68. That fits in there. Best of 69. World's greatest bluegrass bands. I don't think that's going to fit in there. Nope. What can I fit in there? Oh, look, I found another fist. Because I was noticing that Baron Karza, the Micronaut evil villain that I was just showing you, had 2 right hands. This must be the correct fist that's inside this, along with a pair of dice, this Josie and the Pussycats cup. I'm wondering if that would fit in this. I do believe it does. So let's wrap it. This swizzle stick was also in it, but I'll put that somewhere else. Put this Wolfman candy in the cup. Anything else I can put in the cup? Now here's my, this is from like 3rd or 4th grade. This is a phaser. We on the playground we would play Star Trek. This is like 73 to 74. So this was I just took some notebook paper, stapled it together, and it says it belongs to Captain Kirk. So I would hold this and press it, and that would be a phaser. Yeah. That goes with me. Let's wrap up this little Spider-Man. This little bootleg Spider-Man. I think it's made in Europe or something. And that will complete this box. Okay, let me go get another box for CDs. Box is probably too big, but that's the way it's going to have to be. It'll be heavy. The Pandoras. They were a great 60s influence. They later became a little more heavy metal, but they were like a 60s girl band in the 80s, maybe early 90s. Friday at the Hideout, Boss Detroit Garage, 1964 to 67. Pandora's had some lawsuits from people because their music was so loud. They said it damaged their hearing. The lead singer, the blonde there, passed away. Elvira Haunted Hits. Horror Hop. This is like 50s and 60s monsters, because there was a huge monster fad that inspired famous monsters of filmland, but rock and roll music also had lots of monster records. Most famous one would be Monster Mash. That's the one everyone remembers, but there were tons of records that came out because it all started in 1957 when Shock Theater was syndicated with all these old Universal horror movies, and a lot of kids saw them for the first time. These movies that at the time were, 20 years old, some of them, and their parents had seen them, but they hadn't seen them. And on here's another one of these collections of monster 45 records from the 50s and early 60s. Your parents grew up with these Universal monster movies, but and early television was black and white, so they weren't like saying, "Oh, that's black and white, I don't want to watch that." Solomon Burke. The Yardbirds. April March. Well, April March did a cover version of a French record, and it was Chick Habit, and I'm a huge fan of April March. It's the Dwarves. She was a cartoonist. She worked on Ren and Stimpy, and she used to date Mort Todd, the guy that revived Cracked in Charlton. That's Charlton Neo. This is T-Rex Edwards, out on parole. He was one of these Californians that hates the Beach Boys, but this is country music, and every song on here is a cover version of a country song about killing people. The Electric Prunes. Oh, now we're getting into my prank call collection. This is Shut Up Little Man. It's got these guys live next door to this gay couple, I think in San Francisco, that were constantly fighting. And one of them kind of refused to acknowledge that he was gay and was constantly berating the other one, calling him slurs against gays, even though obviously he was gay too. And they just yell, and they get yelled. So they used to set up a recorder and just record through the wall these guys yelling, and then it wound up becoming a tape audio cassettes people would trade back before, and then it wound up on CD, and they even made a movie about it. Here's Captain Jenks, who was the prank caller that was always calling up and saying Baba Booey, or talking to people or mentioning Howard Stern's name, and then of course Howard Stern would have him on to play his prank calls. Great phone calls, your sides will ache from convulsive laughter. So, customer service disasters. Yeah, I was really into prank calls. I still would be, it's just I haven't thought about it. This is the anthology of Lucius Tate. This is up in Longview, Texas. Not Longview, it was Sulphur Springs, Texas. This guy would call up people and antagonize them. The Tube Bar. This was a bar in the Bowery, and this old guy, the bartender, sounded like Popeye. They would call up and this is another one of the Tube Bar. they would just get him so angry he would just go off and yell at them, sounding like Popeye. I mean, with the most vulgar language. Radio Jihad, Melba Jackson. This is a guy that I know that named Brother Russell. He could do a great impersonation of a little old lady. He'd call it televangelist and record it. This is a sequel, Melba Comes Alive. I got all the prank calls here. Here's another one of his records. This is signed 62 of 150. It was really cool when we realized we could make our own CDs, that you could burn CDs. That was neat. Back in the old days, that was like a big revelation. I just went downstairs. My mother-in-law is not there, so like maybe she went out to buy something at the grocery store. Or goddamn fuck. Or maybe she is in the restaurant. I don't know. Girl Trouble. This is a great band out of Tacoma. Yeah. Oh, they do a version of the Batman theme that's amazing. You gotta look that up. My friend Randy knows them. The Crime Scene. This Ultra Lounge series collects. This is Fort Worth Garage Rock from the '60s. They had a great rock and roll scene over in Fort Worth. There's several volumes of these that come from Norton Records. Soundtrack to Beat Girl by the John Barry 7. This is not too long before he started doing the music for the James Bond movies. It's a tremendous score. Especially listen to the theme from Beat Girl by John Barry just on YouTube. It'll blow your socks off. These were CDs they give out at the Lollipop Shop. This great girl over in Dallas named Patricia Rodriguez. She and her friends, about once a month, they would get a different club and they would just rent it out for the night, I guess. And they did it became the Lollipop Shop, and they would turn it into a 60s go-go club, playing 60s music, 60s style bands, and Patricia and her friends would be the go-go girls up there dancing with the boots, and it was, and all the lights and the psychedelic lights. It was as close as you could come to being back in 1966, and that was over in Dallas. This is another one from the Lollipop Shop, LPS. And if you got there early enough, they'd give you free CDs with collections of amazing music. I gotta listen to this shit, this wonderful stuff. It's not shit. This wonderful stuff. That's just an expression I use. When we get to the new house, I'm gonna be blaring this. Here's Bobby Boris Pickett, Monster Mash. Prank call, grab bag. More of Melba. The Piltdown Men ride again. P.F. Sloan did the original version of. He's the guy that wrote the themes. The Secret Agent Man. It's got the original version on here, which was actually. Instead of saying Secret Agent Man, it was like, look out, danger man, take care, danger man. It's great. P.F. Sloan. I'm starting to lose my balance. I like Nixon, but he did nothing compared to what. My mother-in-law's calling. I better ring off and I'll talk to you guys soon.